give you everything. Also, the right for kindness, I think, in my book. As a Muslim, remember we talked about 2/3 of your deen is mu'amalat, how you deal with people. And how you deal with your wife as a husband is very, very important. Rasulullah ﷺ used to help his wives with the chores of the household. He used to clean, used to take care of things, and he was one of the most easy people to get along with. SubhanAllah. He never asked anybody to do anything for him in the sense of food or anything. He wouldn't come into the house and what's dinner. No, he will help and then to take care of all of that. I don't know where that sunnah went, because all the husbands that I came across were very demanding, very entitled. If you help your wife, you're just increasing her love towards you. And once she loves you, wallahi, your life is amazing. So if you are kind and you help and you take care of your children, that's all you have. Because one day, inshallah, you will need help. You will be at the mercy of your children. There was a story that the sheikh at one of the things that he was telling us was how a family or friend of their family was extremely rich. The father was a surgeon, the mother was an architect, and they were always busy making money. So their kids had everything. They had 3 children. The kids had everything. They lived in this big mansion, any toy that they ever imagined, except the time of their parents, or the love of their parents, except in monetary fashion. So when the kids grew up and their parents got old, the kids had their own lives, moved on to this city and that city. And the guy was saying that this older gentleman called the sheikh that was talking to us in tears and said, I can't spend Eid with my children and my grandchildren, and there are 3 of them that I don't even know. He called and he said, I'm coming. Oh no, Dad, we have things. Please don't come because we are going somewhere. Okay, I'll come meet you there. No, we're all full. Look at all that. So the job of a husband and a wife together then is to raise these children to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost. How? By being conscious of your mother, being conscious of your father, by your father being sitting there with you doing homework, by your dad giving you time out of his busy life, or your mom driving you all over the place, being with you. The more time you spend with your children when they are young, the more time they want to spend with you when you are old, when you are in need. And that's the whole point of, I tell my children, and anybody who cares to listen, that I hate daycare. And why? I have to work. No, you don't. You have to raise children. Your husband has to work. And if he brings $50, that's what you'll eat, $50. You don't need to be, trying to be the Joneses and live in that big house. You live within your means, and your job is to raise these children. So it is very, very, very important that we understand different roles, because Allah prescribed what is good for us, not the other way around. Now, there is an increase in adult daycare. You know what that is? Those children that were thrown in daycare when they were young are throwing their parents in adult daycare when they need help. See, what goes around comes around. And we are shocked, but we are going that way. There are a lot of Muslim daycares. There are a lot, wallahi. Anybody asks me about daycare, I say, you need to raise your child. Nobody is better than raising. I used to be laughed at because I had a college degree, but I wasn't working when I was raising my children. My whole family was like, did you see that? She doesn't even have a job. Oh, I have a job. I just don't get paid. I'm the first one up and the last one to sleep. I have a job. What are you talking about? I don't have a job. I do have a job. And alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, my son just got married. And I always give him advice whether he wants it or not. Every time he comes, let me tell you something. He's very, very kind. He says, okay, yes, Father, tell me. So I tell him that you are a gardener. As a husband, you are a gardener. What does that mean? Who knows the job of a gardener or a farmer, a person that deals with the earth? Guys,
It's to cultivate the land, make sure that you basically have good soil, good nutrients, have firm ground somewhere to stand on.
So that's very scientific and beautiful, but what does that mean? No, I mean it. What does a gardener do?
Physically,
Physically, everything.
I mean, you have to till the soil, pull out the weeds.
Exactly. To toil the soil, is that hard work?
Yes.
Very, very hard. You sweat a lot, yes. You put the seeds in, then you check on those seeds. Do you get the fruits right away? No. You watch, you do your job, and you have what? Faith. Not necessarily, maybe some people don't have faith in Allah, but they have faith in the fact that this will sprout one day because they put their effort in, right? That's what the husband is, especially in the beginning of a marriage. You said some guy I will marry that I don't even know. Yeah, but if he's a good gardener, he will put the good seeds in. He will put the love seeds, the kindness seeds. He will water that earth. He will toil. He will take all your craziness, your PMSs, your everything else there, and he will say, okay, sweetie, whatever you say, and you start slowly, that tree will start growing. Slowly there will be flowers. Slowly you start doing your thing. My husband does so much for me and he never asks anything for me. Let me do this. Let me cook his favorite meal, even though I don't know how to cook. I'll really go online and YouTube and all that. I'm sorry. I YouTube and all that, and I'll do what I need to be doing. Because he put that rahmah in that for you. As a gardener, you will be doing that and you will toil and toil and toil. Sometimes for years before you see anything. And then when it comes out, it will be so beautiful. The green. Can you imagine? Close your eyes for a minute. A garden. You know why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always makes us happy, feel happy when we see a beautiful green garden? Because we are created to be happy when the earth produces. So be the gardeners of your wives and your families and create good people. And I said that women are very powerful because every man has been at the mercy of a woman. Every man, except for Adam. He was created, big already. Didn't go through the, So 0 to 5 years old, you are under your mother. If your mother teaches you right, you will be an amazing man. If your mother teaches you oppressive ways, then God help us all. So women need to be learning their religion, understanding their role, taking their role seriously, and not dismissing. I see women, look down at other women because they are raising children. What? You're doing this? What's wrong with you? We should support one another, take care of each other as women, so that we can help the family as families, right? Any good stories about your family you want to share? Good things about your father. I have a story about this father. He didn't read or write English. He was a taxi driver from Michigan. Had 3 sons. He would stop whatever he's doing. Between the hours of 7 and 9, I'll come home. Because he has to work hard, there are a lot of things that he has to do. Come home and sit with his sons at the table, and with such authority, he will say, show me your homework. He has no idea which way the book goes. Show me your homework. And they all line up and show you the homework. And, okay, good. You have anything else? Show me this. And he will sit there with such entitlement that he knows what he's doing. And actually, the story was told by the son. He's an engineer, he works here. And he was telling us, up until I was in high school, I thought my father knew everything. I mean, he could read, write English. I didn't know he was illiterate in the English language. And they really did everything that they wanted to do in school because they didn't want to disappoint their dad. They were A students in high school. They all got good jobs and went into professional lives. 2 of them are engineers and 1 is something in the medical field, a researcher, I think. Why? Because the father took the time and expected something. I had students in my class at Sunrise used to get upset when they got 95, and I'm thinking, 95 is remember. No, my father will not like that. I said, how beautiful. Look, you're so excited about it. Because her father expected 100%. So she would be upset if she got less than that. Are you that type of father? Because it takes time. It takes your time. It takes your class, sincerity. You know, there are parents that will sit there and their mind is somewhere else. They're on their phone, but they're sitting there, but their mind is not there, and the kids will pick that up. They will pick it up, and they will know your father is not, you know, he's not there. His body is there, but his soul is not there. Anyway, he did that all his life, and now his children, the engineer that was telling us the story said, every weekend I stop what I'm doing and I go back and drive the taxi for my father. For the whole weekend, and any money he makes, he gives it back. He's your friend. Nobody has to do that. Nobody told him to do that. Somebody had a question.
Like, my father used to tell me a story. My father tells me a story about his father. My father's father was a clerk in a courtroom, and he was a very poor man, obviously. But we used to walk through a market every morning, and there was a man who had, had gotten so much shock that he had lost everything. And every morning he would have these papers with him, and he would see my father's father coming down the road, and he would say, can you write a case up for me? Even though he didn't know anything, he had lost everything, he had no whatsoever right of thinking. And my dad used to tell me that his father used to just sit down with him for hours and just he would just write lines on the paper just so the man could be happy.
Yeah.
And he used to tell me that no matter what, how busy you are in life, you should take out time for people who need you, or or just looking for someone to talk to, because no matter what, maybe something that you do, something kindness that you do, may reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And he's saying that those blessings, I'm reaping. He's with my father, his children are reaping those benefits.
Yes. SubhanAllah. And who needs you more than your little children, the babies in your life, that are waiting for you to learn how to pray, how to fast, how to do the basic Islamic tenets in your own family. Anybody else?
So I have a question regarding the hadith that says most of the inhabitants of hellfire will be women.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
I have a question regarding, there's a hadith regarding that most women in hellfire will be, most of the inhabitants in hell will be women because they don't appreciate their husbands. And I guess I've struggled with that one, so I was wondering if because I think on the surface it seems to undermine a lot of what we've been discussing today. So I wonder if you could kind of speak to that, because the mother's role is held in such high esteem in Islam, so it's a little confusing for me.
It is. Especially because you have half of the hadith. The other half also says most of the Jannah is full of, most people in Jannah are women. Ignorance, learning about our deen really takes us to a place that you will not be as confused as you are if you don't know what you're talking about. SubhanAllah, we earn hell. Hell is not easily achieved. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we were just today learning Surah Al-Buruj, and Allah talk to Fir'aun and all of these people that did the wrong things, and see if they repent. Look at that. Even people that at the level of Fir'aun, Allah is opening the repentance to them. So in that, I understand that nar is not something that you easily can go. But Jannah is at the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and every time we do something merciful towards each other, we get that. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So when they say that the nar is full of women, there are a lot of bad people out there. But also Jannah is full of women. Where are these 72 virgins coming from? So Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Knowledge is power.
I have a question about disciplining children. I'm pretty sure all of us experience stuff like slippers and shoes and everything. How far does it go with disciplining your child? what are the limitations contained on that?
It's easier to yell and hit and throw that thing, sharp, or whatnot. It's easier. It's easy to do the wrong thing. But if you train yourself to do the right thing, train yourself to follow the tenets of Islam in terms of discipline. If your nafs has discipline, then you will not be prone to do the wrong things in terms of your children. And I always had this theory of raising children. 0 to 5 years old, they just need to know your love. That's it. There is no, because they don't know everything else. I mean, the security of their sense of security comes from the foundation of the love that you show them. So 0 to 5, you follow them around, don't tell them no, just walk around with them. That's your, so my niece says, this is my exercise plan. She has a 1-year-old. So just redirect them instead of saying no all the time, just whenever because their attention is so short. They get something and they're just wanting to explore and know things, and you give them something else, they will be just as happy. And then 7 to 14 is a training time. That's what I call training time. That means discipline and hardship is upon them. They have to learn that the world is hard out there, and they have to behave in the best as Muslims. So training in salah, training in fasting, training in sadaqah giving, training in volunteer work. I know people that do not allow their little kids to do work. Oh no, he's too young. Oh no, he will break the plates. Oh, buy new plates. She needs to have a chore. Oh, for God's sake, she's 7 years old, or he's 7 years old. My sons were trained just as my daughters. I had sons before I had daughters. So they will clean, cook, do everything that I needed them to learn to do. So I used to tell them, I will get a dowry on you. Because you know how to do everything. Somebody needs to pay me to get married to you. But they knew how to do everything because that's what my expectation was. They had chore times and they had, they had work. And sometimes when I come home and my bed is not made, because I always tell them, oh, this is a chance for Hasanat for you. Go ahead and take care of my room or something. They'll actually go in there and, I know who made my bed that day, by the way it's made. But train them. So I'm very harsh, but not mean. Like I used to spank my kids, but it was a spanking, physical spanking that had no anger in it. And it came after 4 or 5, don't do it. Like you insist on doing this? Okay, you are going to get 10 spankings in the hand for this reason and a long lecture. They always prefer the spanking to the lecture because they used to call it torture lecture. And that came from my husband because I was doing the spankings under all of them. We tag teamed them. It was beautiful. And then from 14 on, the minute that they did, actually most of them I homeschooled their 9th grade year. Because that's when identity, that's when identity comes into play. So they were homeschooled in their 9th grade, and then from then on they made their own decisions. And the hardest work I did in raising them, it came at that time. Not because of what they did, it's because of controlling me. Trusting their judgment and trusting their choices and knowing, even though they know what they're doing, what I know they're doing is wrong, they have to know. So holding myself up was the hardest thing. And that, I think, gave me some patience and made me a mellow grandmother. Yes. I have 5 minutes.
Before spanking, she used to make balloons.
That's my child.
That used to scare the kids out of me. She was like so calm before she spanked. Not that I was that kid, I only got like thick for grades and stuff like that, but just to I hate when parents do something out of anger, and she never did it out of anger. She was just very calm and calculated. Or scared.
And then we had other ways of punishing. We had courts, There was something wrong, everybody sits down, and we have court. They have to explain why they decided to soil the good name of our family by discriminating. And then then somebody had to be in defense of that person, and then we had to vote about what punishment that person got, and some people went to jail in the house. Really seriously. They had to choose one meal a day. They had the right to one meal for their choice. No, really, that's true. That was a punishment. They had a choice of one meal, and the other meal came from me, and it was usually beans and water or something. And then they had to choose one outfit that they would wear throughout their incarceration. And they couldn't participate in anything we did at home, but they could go to Duxie or whatever else outside, and they knew not to play. Because when the kids went out to play, they would have, because I was always at the masjid with my children. I never dropped them and left them. I was always participating in whatever it is that they do. So whoever was in jail would be sitting next to me, smile when somebody walks by. We had fun. Now they think about it. That, I don't know why you were so crazy. You did all this. I had nothing else to do. Oh yeah, the spanking spoon was a spatula, and it had a side face on it. Because I always would tell, it hurts me more than it hurts you. Anyway, are there any other questions?
I would just like to make a comment. Like my parents, it was an arranged marriage, and they have been married for 20 years. My dad picked my mom, but my mom, she didn't want to marry him. But she ended up marrying him because she felt like he would be a good father for her kids. Nowadays, I feel like when we think about marriage, we don't think about, like I'm gonna die, and this person's gonna raise my kids. This person, so we don't think about the person we are marrying. We only think about them being compatible with us,
Yes.
and us being able to live, being able to live with it. So I think we have to think, okay, I'm gonna die, and you know how they say, like, if you are going to Jannah,
Yes.
it's just based on what your kids do.
Yes.
So if you marry someone because you are compatible with them, and not because like they are a good follower of religion, and they don't teach your kids, you won't be going to Jannah. Stop. You will be going to Jannah probably. But I feel like looking at my parents' marriage, that's what I learned. That don't go with the person you like, but go with the person you know that's going to be a good father to your kids.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something the Prophet said, and I feel like nowadays we forget that.
Yeah,
We don't think about it.
it's not in the equation because it's all about a woman and a man, and that's I was making a point about shaitan being your worst enemy, and there are so many shows and so many movies and so many things that talk about glorify sexual relations, glorify boyfriend and girlfriend, and forget about the reality and the hard work of marriage. So in this society, I always say that having a girlfriend or a boyfriend and having multiple girlfriends and boyfriends is exercise in divorce. That's what it is. If I don't like you, I'll move on to the next one. I don't like you, I'll move on. And then in that process, then the children are the ones that are missing out, subhanAllah. There's an African proverb that says, when two elephants fight, it is the grass that loses. So when you are always in conflict, it is, because the grass gets all messed up, right? So you are the two elephants in your family, and you have a conflict, your children are messed up. And subhanAllah, that's what I had 5 minutes ago, so I appreciate your time. Jazakallah khair for having me.